Right. Okay. So just try and understand. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, whatever is happening in Bangladesh will have repercussion in the larger region as well. India has also issued an advisory to its residents in Bangladesh to be very, very careful. I'm joined by Ms. Veena Sikri, former diplomat and somebody who keeps a very, very close eye on developments, in fact, in the region. Ma'am, thank you for speaking to us. I just want to understand from you to begin with, just put it in perspective for our viewers. Is this the biggest challenge that Sheikh Hasina is facing in the recent times of her political career?
Sheikh Hasina has been in power. This is her fifth term in power, fourth consecutive term, and one term earlier. So she has been in power. She's been prime minister for 20 years. And as such, she has been through a lot. I mean, there have been attacks on her life when she was in opposition. We saw even this time, soon after her taking over, there was the attack on the border roads, the border guards, Bangladesh, which is early known as the BDR. Bangladesh Rifles, and those things were all directed against attacks against her. The Rohingya problem also, when it happened, was really seen in by many as really trying to destabilize her government. But this time on the students' protest, I think I can say quite clearly that today I can say that it has morphed into something else. And let me explain this, because the students in Bangladesh have always had a very special position. They've been regarded as big opinion makers and leaders and dynamic participants in the political process. In March 1971, when the liberation war started and the Pakistanis cracked down, Yahya Khan left Dhaka after the failure of negotiations. Their first target after Sheikh Mujib and sending him off to West Pakistan was the Dhaka University, and to get the students, and get attacking them, killing them in large numbers, the students, the faculty, the intelligentsia, all that. So they're very important. The same Awami League government who was there in 72 and gave the 30% reservation to the students for all civil services and public sector undertaking. The same Awami League government led by Sheikh Hasina in 2018, when the students protested against the 30% reservation, saying that we need jobs. She herself gave up the reservations. She abolished all quotas. So I would say that she has been on the same page as the students for the longest of times. Right till 15 July of this month, because last month in June, 2 months ago in June, the High Court gave a decision, overturning Sheikh Hasina's decision to abolish the quota. I said, no, you can't abolish, we're going to reinstate. Then Sheikh Hasina's government went to the Supreme Court and said, no, we want to abolish the quota. So all times they have been on the same page as the students. But then on 15th of July, after the press conference, when she mentioned this word Radhakar, not at all in relation to the students, but in relation to a rhetorical question about the reservations, then the students took it up. And that is when the violence started, because the Awami Chhatra League, the students, the wing of the Awami League, came out and took on the protesters. Now, that also was curbed, but then the Jamaat-e-Islami and the BNP students wing, there were clashes, huge clashes between political clashes. And I must say that even that, the Prime Minister came on television, appealed to them for calm, and it came down, everything was coming under control, the army was out and there were shoot-aside orders. Then on 21st of July, the Supreme Court actually gave a verdict upholding Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's decision and saying there will be no reservation except for 5% for freedom fighters' children and some 2% extra. Now, that should have calmed everything down. But by this time, the students had, because the young students had been killed, there were killings, and they blamed the army and the police for the killings and said, because you set them on the street. So this part of the students' agitation has been now gaining momentum, and first they had made a 9-point demand, asking Sheikh Hasina to apologize, asking some of her ministers to leave. That dialogue with the students didn't start. And then came this demand, remove her, one demand, and now a 15-point demand for non-cooperation. But I must say that now, when I see this now, there is clearly some outside influences coming in. It's not just the students. I would say that the army and the government is one. They've had a meeting this morning of the National Security Council, the army chief, the Navy chief and the air chief, with the Prime Minister and her senior minister. So they've decided to take it on. They said, no, we can't let the students, because this is not the students themselves. These are external influences. And today there's been clashes all over the country.
That's right.
People have died, policemen have died. There's a curfew announced for the next 3 days. Everything is shut in Dhaka. Now, if in the next 3 days the army can get things under control, I think it'll be okay. The dialogue with students should start. The action can be taken. The full inquiry into how did so many students die, how many died, how many policemen died, how many students died, who were the ones who took action
Right,
against.
ma'am, like you said, it all started as the anti-quota protest and now it has become anti-Sheikh Hasina protest. The fact is that there is, internet is suspended, but there were a lot of these videos which enraged the students of the way the
The
police
volume has
handled.
gone.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
The volume has gone. Sound has gone. I
Okay,
can't
what we'll
hear.
try and do, we'll try and
Yeah.
fix that. Can you hear me? Right. So
Yes,
as I was
yes.
saying that, there have been, before the internet was suspended and so on and so forth, there were many videos going viral which enraged the student community, in which they saw atrocities, they alleged, by the police and the security forces. They alleged high-handedness on the hands of the government, which enraged them. Do you think that, of course, there was already anger, which now is being meddled by certain foreign elements, as the government and the administration there is alleging?
Yes, no, definitely the concern of the students about the people who have died, that needs to be looked into. There should be a judicial committee has actually been appointed by Sheikh Hasina's government. There should be a full judicial inquiry, and certainly there should be no high-handedness against the students. There should be complete, all the death and destruction that has taken place, that should be looked into. So that demand is being met. I think Sheikh Hasina is willing to meet it.
Okay.
But now this is totally morphed into something else, and whether this can be brought under control is the big issue that I think the Sheikh Hasina government.
What do you see? What do you see India's role in this? Very quickly, ma'am, in brief.
I want to say very quickly that India says clearly this is an internal matter of Bangladesh. Of course, we are watching it very carefully. We have helped all our students to leave Bangladesh. Any Indian national there, we've helped them to come out, and we are watching it very clearly because it can impact the neighboring regions of India.
Absolutely.
The violence can spread. So we are watching it, but we are saying it's an completely internal matter of Bangladesh. But I must tell you that within Bangladesh, as part of these riots, the people who are inciting it, and that is why I term them as political forces, they're spreading a lot of anti-Indianism. There's a huge amount of anti-Indianism propaganda going in, and they're trying to link that with Sheikh Hasina.
Okay.
And this is absolutely, not being accepted by everybody. So it's something that, we have to look at, because
Right.
it's very that they should bring in the name of India as though India is involved in this in any way.
Absolutely.
This is their own internal problem,
I mean,
So
these are
think
fertile grounds for a lot of conspiracy theorists and people, those who are opposing the government politically, to try and use this to try and foment this trouble so that they can have some sort of footing as far as the government is concerned, against the government is concerned. Veena Sikri, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.